Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make really fun sun catchers using some basic supplies you probably already have on hand, or if you don't, you can pick up very easily from our sponsor Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. I was at my library earlier today doing a craft program, and this is what we did. We made some fun, colorful sun catchers. Aren't they lovely? And you set these in your window and they just gleam and are so pretty, and they're easy enough to do even for the youngest of crafters. And you can even cut around them to make them more shapely if you want to use them as ornaments or mobile or whatever you want. So I just wanted to give you some ideas right there. So what I did first was I used my die cutter to cut out some basic shapes, and I use a software called SureCuts-A-Lot, which has these templates already built into it, but you could easily like trace a cookie cutter or just find like a printout online and do the exact same thing, or even just freehand it. The thing I like about using a die cutter for this, if you have one, is that you get these leftover pieces, and they're very just kind of fun little silhouettes that kids can decorate. If you use like a metallic watercolor on these, or oil pastels, or pastel colored crayons, or chalks, you could really do some really fun stuff with this. And as a teacher, having these cutout pieces, it kind of gave me another table where I could just lay these out and some crayons, and the kids could decorate these while they're waiting for a turn to do the decoupage sun catchers. So I thought we would do the crab today because that's fun. I just love little crabs. And I'm going to put a piece of wax paper down. So this is just regular, ordinary kitchen wax paper. I like to use a sponge brush or any sort of paintbrush to apply glue to my backing, and I just want to get around the window part here. You don't have to be too fussy with it, but you do want to make sure that you have things well glued. And once you have glue all the way around, then just press your wax paper into it. And don't worry if you have a little more glue than you have wax paper, because everything's going to dry clear. And don't worry if you get any glue, like if it seeps out underneath and gets on the front of your black paper, because it's not really going to show. Oh, you can use cardstock for this. I'm using cardstock because it cuts in my die cutter a lot easier, but you could even use construction paper if that's all you have. Construction paper is not going to cut as well in like an electronic die cutter as cardstock will, because it's not as heavily sized of a paper. So the next thing we're going to do is paint some glue over the window in our design here. It doesn't matter what you're working on. If you are working in a really hot, dry area, you might just want to do one section at a time. Also, if you're working with smaller pieces of tissue paper, you're going to want to do one section at a time. But I'm going to keep this pretty large, and I'm just going to grab a handful of these. And what I did was I took the Paper Mart tissue paper, and I got a big assortment pack because as a teacher, as a craft teacher and someone who does gift packaging, I like having the assortments, and I don't have to think and pick and choose. I can just have one big pack that has like a dozen different colors in it. So I recommend that if you are if you're like me and you're not exactly sure what you're going to use your tissue paper for and you just want to have a good assortment. You can also get any color you want in bulk packaging all by itself. It's very affordable. So if you're doing like a party or a shower or something like that where you like want everything to be mint green, or you want everything to be chocolate brown, or you want, you know, a very specific color, you can do that too. Paper Mart has an unbelievable selection, but for what I need it for, I find that the assortment pack for me is the best. And they do have a couple different assortments. They have ones with fewer colors. They have a pastel assortment, a bright assortment, and then the multi assortment, which is what I have here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in with shades of yellow, red, and orange until I have filled up the entire window portion of this crab here. After you've put down your paper, you'll want to go and just gently add some more decoupage medium, white glue, Mod Podge, whatever you're using for your glue. Add a coat of that on top. You can also get a more in-depth color, a more intense color rather, if you put more layers of paper on top. So if I go back in and I add some more reds and oranges, I can get a much richer look to my colors. So basically, to prepare these little squares, all I did was I took the big sheets of the tissue paper, which is like, I think it's like 19 by 22 inches, somewhere around there. They're pretty big. I just took the big sheets, cut them into strips, and then cut them into into squares. And actually, my daughter helped me prepare for this class. It's definitely something kids can pretty much do on their own, even if, you know, even if you're not there to help them. It's a great project. I really like stuff like this for classrooms because you don't need to have a lot of expensive things. You don't have to have a lot of specialty items, and you can really do a fun project. So the teachable things I like to get across from doing this with a class is I like to talk about the difference between opaque and transparent. So our tissue paper here is transparent. We can see through it. It's translucent. Our cardstock is opaque. We can't see through it. That's why when we have our sun catcher, the light passes through the tissue paper and wax paper because it's transparent, but it's blocked by our cardstock, which is opaque, and that's why we get that nice black outline on our sun catcher when we hang it in the window. So it's a great way to teach opaque versus transparent if you're looking for that teachable aspect of your lesson. Now I'm going to flip this over and see what we have. It's going to look a little milky until it dries, but I can see that I missed a spot there and there, so that's pretty easy. I'm just going to flip it over. I can even tear a piece to cover both of those areas. Let's see, I've totally forgot where I said I was missing. Okay, right up there. Actually, I'm just going to stick that there to make sure I got it all. And where was the other spot I was missing? Right down there at the bottom of the claw there. So that's just something you can teach. And I recommend that you teach this to anybody that wants to learn. It's so much fun. Even adults can have a good time doing this project. Now I wanted to show you that you don't need to use such big chunky pieces like I have here. If you want to tear these smaller and get a little bit more fine-tuned, you can get a really, really pretty effect. Right here you can see that some glue got on the front of the paper, but that won't show when you hang it up. But look how like pretty and detailed and mosaic that looks just by ripping up the paper smaller. Isn't that pretty? So there's lots of different things you can do. You can do colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like this dolphin. We've got blue, yellow, green. They're next to each other on the color wheel, as are the red, orange, yellow next to each other on the color wheel. They're color friends. Or you can do a rainbow, like I did, do the whole spectrum of a rainbow, which is really fun. Or you can just do a variety of colors, and it's still going to look really nice. I hope you try this project with some kids that you know. If you're a teacher, please feel free to teach us to your kids and share it with any other teachers that you think might be interested. And if you're a parent that's going bonkers because your kids are bored this summer, this is a great project for them to do as well. Please check out our sponsor, Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. Packaging for less. Happy crafting!